This episode of Hawk Talk is brought to you by Charbonneau Car Center and Dacotah Bank.
Hi, and welcome back to this week's edition of Hawk Talk. I'm Coulter Hickok.
I'm Hillary Moberg.
And today we got a brand new guest on, so please introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from, and what do you do here at DSU?
I'm Rachel Waldo. I am a student of theater and history at Dickinson State University, and I'm in my senior year.
Well, Rachel, thanks very much for coming on.
Yeah.
So talk about your journey to DSU. Like, how did you originally get here?
Well, I made a lot of great friends in high school and a lot of really awesome connections with people within the community. So it made it really hard to consider leaving Dickinson. I also met the man who would become my husband. So I stayed because of the people, and I have so far had a really great experience at Dickinson State.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really good to hear. So when you first got involved in theater, what kind of made you decide that you wanted to do that? Like, was there a certain memory you associated with it, something that happened?
It's hard to pinpoint because I've been doing theater since I was like 4 years old, starting with the Missoula Children's Theater and then going up as I got older. I know Michael Stevenson over at Dickinson High School really made it worth it for me. And watching all of it come to life and a final product and all the different things that you needed to learn beyond acting, you know, costuming, makeup, lighting, all of the technical aspects really made it seem to me like a career that no one could get bored of doing.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, not to brag, I was also in Missoula Children's Theater. I was the title character, the Ugly Duckling. I was the actual Ugly Duckling. So if that doesn't tell you anything, I'm pretty dang ugly.
We got to get you involved in productions at DSU then.
No.
No?
I don't think so. I'm going to leave that to the professionals.
All right, good call. So when you are becoming a role, what does the prep work look like for you when you're preparing for a play?
There's a lot of prep work. We rehearse from 7:30 to like 10:30 or 11, 5 nights a week. And outside of those rehearsals, there's a lot of questions, like asking what your character's goals are, what their obstacles are, what kind of tactics they're using to get what they want, and even basic questions like, in an ideal world, what would make this character happy? What would make this character feel angry? And just the minute details of getting to know this character and putting yourself into that position, because any character is a reflection of you and vice versa.
Is there one that requires a little more prep work between the musical and an actual just play by itself?
Oh, absolutely, musical. And of course it depends on the play, because there are some plays that can get really wild with special effects especially, but musicals require musical rehearsals to learn the music like in any kind of choir, but as well as choreography, which for a lot of us is not something that we've had a whole lot of experience with leading up to being in musicals. So in combining the vocal strain and the physical strain on top of the regular putting yourself in the character mindset, learning your blocking or you move on stage, all of that combines to make it a much more intensive process.
Wow. I guess I really never thought of it that way. When I was in plays when I was younger, I was just there to learn lines and that was it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it, but that's very awesome to hear just how intricate it actually all is. But since we're on Hawk Talk, we ask a lot of fun questions around here, but we want to ask you, is there a particular dream role or dream production you would ever want to be a part of?
Oh gosh, there's a lot. I have a long list of shows, which is good because I have a lot of time. And I would say for musicals, if we're splitting it into two categories, I would love to be a part of the show Bear, a pop opera. And if we're splitting it into plays, I really love the show Far Away by Carol Churchill. They are shows with a lot of meaning, I think, and to me that's, you know, there's a appeal to doing comedy and making people laugh, and I really like the shows that make people think in a way that they hadn't thought before, because I know theater has influenced me in that way in the past too.
Wow, that's really interesting to hear. I hadn't heard of either of those productions before, but I'll have to check them out, see what I can find. So you mentioned earlier that you got married. I know you got married quite recently. So what was your favorite part of the wedding?
Oh, I loved the food. I was so
Good answer.
hungry. I hadn't been able to like eat the entire day and it gets to be a very long, stressful day. And of course the ceremony was beautiful and my dress was beautiful and everything was honestly better than I could have hoped for. But when you get to sit down and just like take the pressure off for a second, that was really nice.
Yeah. So would you say that you were more nervous for your wedding day or more nervous when you go out on stage to perform?
Absolutely the wedding. I wasn't expecting to be as nervous as I was because I'm used to people looking at me and I'm used to thinking of what I have to say and remembering how to move, where to move. But I was shaking and like my legs locked up, and it's just different. When you're a character, you're not putting yourself out there and you know the choices that you've made and how much you've worked, but when it's you and you have one shot, that is so much more stressful.
I can't imagine. I haven't been in that experience, but I can bet that there's a lot of pressure leading up to having the perfect day. But it looked beautiful, all the photos I saw.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had fun.
That's good. That's what matters.
So you're already married, but what are your future plans after DSU?
Well, I accepted a job very recently as director of theater at Dickinson High School, and that is loosely what I want to do with my life. I'm not sure specifically if Dickinson High School is going to be forever. I would love it to be, but it's a really nice step in my career into doing something with my theater degree that I can actually do for as my profession and possibly lead into a master's program.
Yeah.
That's
really,
awesome.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Congratulations on
Thank
that
you.
position. I'm excited to see what you're able to do with that.
It's been a big month.
Yeah, I bet. And I know that there is a production coming up at DSU. So if you want to tell us a little bit about what it is, who you're playing, when it's happening.
We are doing You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and it's a musical. The show is very, very similar to any of the Peanuts cartoon strips that you can see, or like the Charlie Brown Christmas special, in that it's just a series of little vignettes or like little stories and snippets of songs that really tie the whole world together, and just like a day in the life of Charlie Brown. I'm playing Sally, the younger sister, and the character is very cutesy, but also sort of off the wall. Like she's sort of selfish in a strange way that kids are, and it's interesting to put yourself in the mental position of like a 5-6-year-old. And the show will be going on at the very end of October, and that last weekend there on Halloween.
Cool.
Very nice. So everybody watching at home, like, what's something that they should know about the DSU Theater or the theater in general?
I would say that DSU Theatre is so engaging. We do a lot of shows. We do 4 shows a year, and we always do a musical every year. And I think that the people in our community, if you haven't seen a show there, you should go to one, at least. They are much more than like a high school production. There's a level of theater and experience that our professors have been able to give to us as performers, as theater technicians, that, I mean, even some of the effects that we were able to do with the show last spring, Eurydice, we had running water on stage. We had intense projections and lighting effects, and all of that was designed by our tech coordinator and associate professor of theater, Jarvis Johnner. He's done an excellent job with the theater.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that'll be really exciting to see what is able to happen for your good man, Charlie Brown, as well. So there's one question that we ask every guest who comes on Hawk Talk, and that is, what does DSU mean to you?
To me, DSU has always meant having a small campus of people that really care. I know that the relationships I've been able to build with not only my fellow students, but my professors has been invaluable to my growth, and not only as a person, but as an actress. And I know that I have this team of people in my corner in the community that are willing to lift me up and help me to succeed in my goals, and that means so much.
That's really good to hear.
Wow, that was a great answer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Rachel, thank you very much for coming on. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, anytime. Kiera Schneider will be right back for an on-campus interview right after this.
So your return to Dickinson was as the Dickinson State University lead strength and conditioning coach. Tell me about what was going through your head on that first day back on campus with that position.
I would say it's kind of nostalgic almost. I mean, Dickinson State's been such a huge part of my life and development. I mean, my grandpa was here before it was Dickinson State University, it was Dickinson College. My dad played here. You know, my mom played here, went to school here as well. So, you know, my wife went here, so I have a lot of family ties to the area and stuff, so I would say nostalgia was probably the biggest one for me.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. So my next question for you is, I know a lot of people are wondering, and it's a newer program, what is SANFORD Power?
Yeah, so SANFORD Power, it's not really a system. You know, it's not like every SANFORD Power is the same. SANFORD Power prides itself on hiring the best coaches for the best, to do the best job they can. So every spot's gonna look different because every spot is different based on the athletes, the time constraints, you know, the facility constraints, stuff like that. So we just pride ourselves on hiring the best coaches to do the best job possible.
So a little fun question for you. Who is the biggest name client that you've ever worked with?
You know, for me, it's mainly that I've worked with is probably, I don't really categorize them as like who's the biggest, who's whatever. I treat everyone the same. I think everybody needs to get into strength training, and not only for athletic performance, but for the rest of their lives. So my whole goal, whether it's at the high school or the college or anywhere I'm at, I'm trying to get people invested in strength training, not only for athletic performance, but like I said, just to continue on for the rest of their life doing that. So.
Absolutely, it's a great life change to make and something that should be lifelong, I agree.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's kind of what I pride myself on, is trying to teach people, you know, not just about like how we're going to do this, but I'm trying to teach them how to train themselves. You know, that's why we use stuff like RPE. That's why we take so much time working on the techniques, stuff like that. So athletes that come from our program can feel confident to, when they're done with sports, can go and do that stuff on their own.
Awesome. Life changes for the good. So looking back at yourself at the time of your college graduation, 2014, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Did you ever think that you would be back in Dickinson as the lead strength and conditioning coach?
You know, I think it was always in the back of my mind. I knew I wanted to do strength and conditioning. I was lucky enough to get a GA strength and conditioning position at Northern State University. And I kind of was always wondering, like, where am I going to go on with this? Am I going to stay college? You know, where am I going to go? Where am I going to fit in? Am I going to be an intern for a while? You know, kind of do the college strength coach life. And then I was lucky enough that SANFORD Power was coming to Aberdeen, and I was able to continue to work at Northern State and then continue to work at the high school. So that kind of fell in with that. And I knew that SANFORD was kind of growing and stuff like that. So I knew that it was a possibility. So I was obviously like, when the opportunity came and they were like, hey, is this something that would interest you? I was like, oh, 100%.
That's great. That's really cool that you got to accomplish those goals and now in a local setting too.
Right.
That must feel so cool.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's great to be back. I mean, I still know, most of the coaches here I either played with or they were coaches when I was here. Same thing at the high school, either, my classmates who are now teachers at the high school or, some of my old coaches and teachers still there. So it's kind of cool to be back and kind of go full circle.
Exactly. You've accomplished big goals and big things. What's something that you would tell somebody that also wants to reach goals of theirs?
I think the main thing is find, a mentor to really kind of help guide you through. I think that was one thing that I was really fortunate about when I got my GA position. The head strength coach there, Dylan Fritz, was kind of also starting his journey down that way. So me and him kind of grew together. And we use kind of our different backgrounds to kind of help each other grow. And I think, he's a guy I still call today. So I think finding a mentor is the biggest key.
I would agree with that. That's great.
What does Sanford Power mean to you, Sam?
I think Sanford Power, to me, it's just like, it's a continuum of care that I think has been lacking. Everything is so pieced apart. And people are button heads, trying to pull athletes different ways. And Sanford is really, it's not just strength and conditioning. It's not just athletic trainers. It's not just PTs. It's also being able to connect, with myself to the athlete as well, with their orthopedic surgeons, nutritionalists, sports psych. We really have the gambit that kind of encompasses everything we can do in the athletic realm.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for being on with us today and taking time. We super appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
And welcome back for the recap. As you can see, Hillary had some classes she had to get to, so we brought in Kiera Schneider, and we have a super busy week this week. So let's start off cross country. Cross country, they had their first home meet in a very long time. Both the men's and the women's team placed first. Grace Tim is a outstanding runner. She got the North Star Runner of the Week this week, and she won first overall for the women's. So congrats to her. I gotta throw her out there because she's also a member from Laurel, Montana. We graduated from the same school.
Grace is also a freshman this year, right?
Yes, she's a freshman, and she is killing it right now running those courses. So congrats to her and all of the cross-country team for all their hard work.
So next we've got baseball. Baseball was in Valley this last week, and they did lose their games, but they did go to Mayville, and they won in Mayville. So congrats to the baseball team on that. You guys rock. And then they also play in Valley this week, so good luck out there, guys.
So we got volleyball coming up next. Volleyball had a game against Viterbo and also Waldorf. Lost against Viterbo in, I think, 4. Yeah, lost in 4. And then actually won, no, Viterbo lost in 3, won Waldorf against 4. So the Hawks got their W there. The Hawks are then going to be in Bellevue on the 1st. So congrats to them.
Yep, next we've got rodeo. Rodeo's been super busy lately. They've been also killing it. They are one of the only NAIA teams competing in their rodeos, and they are kicking some butt. This last week, rodeo was in Fort Dodge, Iowa, and our men's team came away with 2nd place, which is super awesome. Our women's, we couldn't quite find the placing for that, but we know that they did great. There was some individual scoring as well, so congrats to the rodeo team. Also, you're definitely going to want to check out this weekend. Rodeo has a home Blue Hawk Stampede, so make sure you head over to the rodeo arena and check them out. Go support your Blue Hawks. Also, on top of that, this year, Student Senate is sponsoring some t-shirts for all students to get. So if you come with your student ID, you can get a really cool t-shirt. I won't tell you what that design is, but you're definitely going to want one of those.
I mean, everybody on Student Senate had their idea, but I think it was kind of my idea who was just like this one, so I'm very excited about that. And so yeah, if you're going to be there, it's today, Friday, and Saturday. So
Yes.
Make sure you watch that. Softball played in Dawson Community College. They went 1-1 in a scrimmage over the weekend. Won 7-4 in the first one, lost the second one 9-0. played October 3rd against Dawson Community College and Miles City Community College. So congrats to all the Hawks there. If Hillary was here, she'd give you a better description on what happened, but she had classes, is what we said. And then we got golf. Both teams in Waldorf this past weekend. Men's 5th, first day, 3rd the second day. You've got to flip over my paper here. Then the women's 3rd the first day, and 2nd the second day, or 1st the second day. I said that right. 3rd the first day, 1st the second day. There we go. And Braylon Riggin, she was named the golfer of the week for the North Star. Congrats to all the golf team. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where they're at next, but you can check that out on the DSU Blue Hawks site.
Thank you, Coulter. So on top of that, we've got football. Football had a bye week this week, but we are home and back in action. We're going against PC this week, presentation, so make sure that you tune in Saturday for that game. Also, we've got theater and, the fine performing arts, music. We're going to be having a concert this upcoming week, so make sure that you check out the homecoming concert and be a part of that. And esports, we had a tournament last night, which was Wednesday night at 7:30. It was a Fortnite tournament against
just an opponent.
Yeah,
We don't exactly know who it was against, but if you know anybody on the esports team, they can definitely let you know.
Right. We don't quite have that ending score, so make sure you check out the athletics website to see how they did.
Then cheer. Finally we got a cheerleader on to talk about it. Cheer, they just had their cheer little kid camp, didn't they?
Yep.
How'd that go?
It's good. We actually have Little Kid Camp this week, mini cheer.
Okay.
It's really great. We have, I think, over 100 kids signed up for it, which is pretty big for us. And then, yeah.
Awesome. So today kind of starts the homecoming traditions around here. So tonight we got the Blue Hawk Rodeo, as we said, the Blue Hawk Stampede. Then we're just going to move right over into Sunday, October 3rd. It's the DSU softball games, and they're at noon and 2. They're going to be at the DSU softball complex, and I understand that there's going to be a little home run derby there. So if you really want to watch some good softball, if you really want to watch some people hit some dingers, I recommend going over to the softball complex.
Jumping right over to Monday, October 4th. Make sure to show your spirit, because that is our Spirit Day. You can stop in the hub to pick up some supplies and decorate your residence hall, your doors, hallways, your offices for faculty, staff, or athletes. If you want to decorate your lockers, that's definitely highly encouraged. Make sure you showcase your Blue Hawk pride. And you can pick up that stuff at the hub from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
We're going to kind of skip over from Tuesday stuff, but on Wednesday is our DSU Fall Sports and Fall Assembly Pep Rally. So if you're in the neighborhood and want to come check it out, we're going to have a lot of fun games. I know Kiera and myself, Hillary, and Gunnar Farsfeet are going to be the MCs for that night. It's going to be a really great time. Let's go Hawks.
Thursday night, October 7th, we've got volleyball. And stay tuned, because we are going to be having themes. So make sure you come dressed in your best 90s outfit, because there will be prizes that are awarded. And I don't know, I feel like I'm pretty good at that whole school spirit thing, so you're going to have to work pretty hard to beat me, I think.
We're going to flip on over to, what is that? Friday. There's a different volleyball game, like Kiera said, more themes to come out. And we got the Hall of Fame banquet. That's going to be on 5:30 on that Friday night. So if you just want to go have a good time, watch some Hall of Fame speakers speak, that is going to be $35 a person, and you can call to reserve a spot at 701-483-2557. So if you have any questions, please call that number. You're more than welcome to go.
Yep, Friday also, like Coulter said, we do have volleyball again. That theme is whiteout, so make sure you come dressed in your best whiteout for another prize opportunity. Also, Friday night, that homecoming concert that we talked about. Make sure you go there, get your tickets. I do believe students get free admission with your little pass that you get from Coach Fleury, so make sure you check that out. And that homecoming concert is going to be at 7 p.m. in Dorothy Stickney Auditorium.
Then that leaves us to Saturday. Saturday, we're going to have the homecoming parade. Consolidated is actually going to be filming that, so you can watch that if you're not able to make it. We got the football tailgate. That starts at 10. Football game actually starts at 1. So there's got a lot of things going. You can see the homecoming candidates. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of good time. Hope to see you guys there.
Yep. And that brings us, lastly, we come to Sunday, and there's a Rotary Pancake Carnival. Pancakes sound super good, especially after a Blue Hawk win, knocking on wood. So make sure you check that out. That's going to be at the Dickinson Eagles Club at 8:30 a.m. and ends at 11:30.
For any questions that you guys have, you can always check our Twitter at DSU Heritage Fund and our Instagram at DSU Foundation. once again, huge thank you to all the fans, to the supporters. Thank you to Dacotah Bank. Thank you to Charbonneau Car Center. Without you, we couldn't do the show. Thank you to Ron. Thank you to Trace. Thank you to the Heritage Foundation. So, till next week, I think Hawks are up.
Hawks are up.